Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell so you know whenever I post new videos. So in today's video, I want to talk about how you can kind of tell that the person that you're dating is no longer into you. I feel like there's a lot of different signs, and I've experienced several of them in my relationships in the past that have kind of pointed to the direction of, this isn't going where you want it to go, and it's probably going to end soon. And I kept telling myself to ignore the signs because I was just like, stop thinking that way. You're just hurt because your previous relationship didn't do well, and those were things that happened in your previous relationship. Don't bring those into your new relationship because your new relationship's going really well. And I'm just like, why did I allow myself to think that way? There were so many different signs in my previous relationships that were just like, he's not into you anymore and he's ready to be done, and he's just trying to find a nice way to end it so that it doesn't end on a bad note because he doesn't want you to talk poorly about him. So the first thing that you kind of notice is just the feeling that you get when you're around them. When you first started dating and when you were talking before, he was excited to talk to you. He was excited to see you, and when you walked through the door, he was just really happy to see you there, and then that slowly starts to fade. And I'm not saying that every single relationship is ending just because they don't get super excited like a puppy to see you every time you come home. I'm just saying that in the past, if it was a big difference between how they were acting then and how they are acting now, it could be a sign that the relationship's kind of hitting some rocky grounds and might not last very much longer. Another thing is texting and snapping and all of that fun stuff. How often do they do it? I know that in my previous relationship, I was just kind of super excited about the snaps. I was actually like screenshotting the snaps because I was going to create this cute little photo album of like a storyline of all the snaps that we used to send to each other. Didn't happen. Relationship ended before that happened, but I thought that was a cute idea, so I was going to do it anyway. So if any of you guys are out there screenshotting snaps, maybe you can use that as an idea as a gift someday. Another thing you might notice is they just don't text you throughout the day like they used to. They used to be excited about what you're doing, and they wanted to know how your day was going when you're separated. And then that kind of starts to fade away. Once again, I'm not saying that just because someone stops texting you the way that they used to doesn't mean that your relationship's going to end, but I'm saying that if all of these signs start to pile on top of each other, there's a very good chance that your relationship might be going downhill. And if you realize these things, maybe you can communicate with the person. Communication is such a big thing when it comes to relationships. If you start to kind of feel the differences and start to see your relationship kind of disappearing in front of your eyes, if you're dating someone that's really good at communicating, you guys can talk about these things and maybe save your relationship if you pick up on these signs early enough. A really big sign that I picked up on in my previous relationship with Matt, and as well as my relationship after that, was the affection. So when you first start dating someone, you are just infatuated with them and you just want to kiss all over them and just hug them and just be with them, cuddle with them on the couch, watch movies together. And when your relationship starts to kind of wither away, those things do as well. And that was something that I'd noticed in my relationships, and I brought up, and I was just like, hey, you don't seem to cuddle with me on the couch anymore. Like, when we ate before, you used to like sit right beside me, and after you were finished, you just kind of cuddle up into my lap. And now you kind of sit on the opposite side of the couch. And I feel like that is a sign that things aren't going well. Is everything okay? And both times in both relationships where that happened, they're just like, oh no, you're fine. It's just, I feel like I'm coming down with something, or I just didn't feel like I was in a cuddly mood that night. And I was just like, okay. And I accepted these things at the time because I was just like, okay, that makes me feel better. But the signs still pointed to the relationship was having issues. And in the past, I have not dated people who are very good at communicating. And my relationship with Curtis, because I had just gotten out of a relationship with Matt not too long ago, I was just like, hey, I just need you to be honest with me, because Matt was dating me for a year, and within 6 months of our relationship, he wasn't feeling it. He was making plans to move to Texas without me. And I was just like, I really want you to communicate with me. I really need you to just tell me if you're feeling something, and if you think this is going in a direction where it's not going to be good for us, just let me know. And for several months with him as well, he was just like, oh no, we're fine, we're fine. And then on Thanksgiving Day, he was just like, this is not working. And it was just like a huge slap in my face. Granted, I saw the signs and I felt like things were kind of going downhill, but I did communicate with him. I was open about the things that I was noticing, and he was just like, no, you're fine, you're fine. Now I realize that my gut feelings that I'm having, I need to pay a little bit more attention to them. Not saying that I'm going to punish future boyfriends for things that people have done in the past to me, but if things really start to change in the relationship to where I really feel like things are moving in the negative or bad direction, I'm most definitely going to trust my gut in those situations. When it came to my relationship with Matt, at the beginning, he was very, very intimate and he just always wanted to do something. And there were times when I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Can we just do it another time? I'm just like, I'm just so tired. It's not going to be any fun. And then about 6 months into the relationship, it kind of flipped to where it never happened. And I was just like, hey, I would love for this to happen. And he just always would make excuses. So he was just like, oh, I'm too tired. It's too late. How about you try to catch me a little bit earlier in the day? How about you try to catch me when no one's home? How about you try to catch me when this, and this, and this? And you start to kind of realize they're making excuses. I feel like that's another big sign that something's going wrong in your relationship is when the person starts making excuses for why they can't see you or why they can't like make out with you or why they haven't had sex with you in forever. So be careful, be aware of the signs that are showing up in your relationship. I feel like a lot of times we really do notice when things are going wrong. And most of the times I would talk to my friends about it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is starting to happen. Am I being crazy? Is this a sign that things aren't going well? Or am I just overreacting? Do I need to be less dramatic? Because I feel like my relationship's slipping away, and honestly, I didn't want it to slip away. And I was hoping that my friends were gonna just be like, oh yeah, you're fine, things are fine. But they're like, ooh yeah, those are kind of signs that things aren't going well. So you might want to talk to the person about it. If you're dating someone that's very good at communicating, that would be something that you could do. You can talk to them about all the signs and things that you're feeling, because if they do really love you and if they do want the relationship to work, they will communicate with you about the things that's happening in the relationship that might be causing some errors or problems in your relationship to make them think that it's not working out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you go follow me on my other social medias. I have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.